my friends across the world, today, beneath the blazing African sun that has witnessed our pain and our glory for centuries, I stand before you with the heart overflowing with politics. This is not a day for ceremony. This is a day for truth, a truth that has slept too long in the heart of Africa and must now awaken. I stand here not only as the President of Namibia, but as a daughter of this soil, a daughter of this mighty continent that has suffered much but never surrendered. I speak not from behind the walls of an office, but from the depth of my soul, a soul shaped by the songs of our ancestors, by the tears of our mothers, and by the dreams of our youth, who still believe in an Africa that can rise again. For far too long, we have allowed others to tell our story. We have allowed others to define our worth, measure our potential, and decide our destiny. But today, I say, no more. Today, we reclaim our story. We reclaim our dignity. We reclaim our power to shape our own tomorrow. This speech is not only for Namibia, not only for Burkina Faso, but for every African heart that still beats with hope. It is a message for the world that watches us, sometimes with curiosity, sometimes with fear, but always with underestimation. I say to them, watch closely, because Africa is not a sleeping giant you once thought it to be. Africa is awake. Africa is speaking. Africa is rising. There are moments in history when one voice, one act of courage changes everything. For Africa, that voice today belongs to President Ibrahm Traore of Burkina Faso. When I first heard him speak, I did not hear a politician reading a prepared speech. I heard a soldier of truth, a young lion with fire in his heart and faith in his people. I heard a leader who does not bow to fear and does not trade his country's dignity for empty promises. He reminded us what true leadership means. It is not about fame or comfort. It is not about pleasing the powerful. It is about standing for your people, even when it costs you everything. He showed us that leadership is service, service to those who trust you, to the soil that raised you, and to the generations that will inherit your decisions. President Traore has become more than a leader. He has become a symbol of Africa's reawakening. When he speaks, he does not speak for Burkina Faso alone. He speaks for every nation that has been silenced, every people who have been plundered, and every youth who has been told that Africa must always be dependent to survive. When I listen to him, I hear the echoes of Sankara, Lumumba, and Nkrumah, great men who dared to imagine an Africa that stands tall. But Traore adds something new, the courage of a generation that refuses to be fooled again, a generation that no longer wants to survive, but to live, to thrive, and to lead. For centuries, Africa has been known as the richest continent beneath the ground and the poorest above it. That is not a coincidence. That is a design. Our lands are overflowing with gold, diamonds, cobalt, uranium, and oil. Yet our schools remain underfunded, our hospitals under-equipped, and our people underpaid. Why? Because those who come to us in the name of help often come with hidden chains. They call it foreign investment, they call it development aid. But in truth, it has often been a more polite name for extraction.
This is going to blow your mind. Kids can design games instead of playing them? And not those basic games.
They arrive with contracts written in their languages. In fine print, our leaders can barely understand. They offer figures that sound generous, but those numbers are weapons disguised as gifts. They tell us this is partnership, but we soon realize the partnership has only one winner. They build mines that shine under the sun, while our children walk barefoot in the dust. They dig our land and chip away its soul. They call us developing nations, but they are the ones who develop from our sweat, our land, and our silence. For decades, we believed this was the way of the world. We accepted it. We signed their papers. We smiled for their cameras. But deep down, Africa was crying for someone to say the truth, that our continent has been robbed, not by pirates with guns, but by gentlemen with contracts. Then came Ibrahm Traore, a young man, a soldier, and a patriot who looked at those same contracts and said, if this gold is ours, why do we only own 10% of it? In that moment, he broke the spell of fear. He tore through decades of false diplomacy and gave us back the courage to question. He did not come to destroy. He came to rebuild. He did not come with bitterness. He came with clarity. He ordered a full review of every mining agreement in his country. He told companies, if you cannot respect our people, you cannot stay on our land. Some thought he was reckless. Others thought he was too young. But history will say he was right. He created new laws, laws that made it clear that Burkina Faso's gold would be refined locally, that its jobs in it, no more contracts written in foreign offices, no more deals that bled the people dry. For the first time, the gold under their soil became a blessing, not a curse. When other nations saw this, they were inspired. For too long, we thought we were too small to fight back. But Traore showed that you do not need size when you have spirit. You do not need wealth when you have will. You only need one thing, courage. When we say that Ibrahm Traore taught us how to save our minerals, we mean much more than money. We mean that he taught us to save our pride, to save our voice, to save the belief that our wealth belongs to us. For too long, our leaders were told that aid is a gift, but aid has too often been a chain. It comes wrapped in generosity, but tied with interest. Traore reminded us that saving our minerals is an act of love, not hatred. Love for our people, for our land, and for the generations to come. He showed that gold is not wealth unless it builds schools. Oil is not wealth unless it powers hospitals. Diamonds are not wealth unless they bring water to villages. This is what it means to serve, to use the treasures of the earth, not for luxury, but for life. Traore's leadership is a message to every African nation. The path to freedom is not written in foreign aid, but in self-belief. He taught us that Africa does not need to beg for investors. Africa itself is the investor. We have the minerals, the land, the youth, and the potential. What we lacked was the confidence to say no. And now, thanks to his courage, that confidence is spreading like wildfire across the continent. Across Africa, a new wave is rising, a wave of self-respect, self-reliance, and sovereignty. From Senegal to Sudan, from Ghana to Namibia, leaders have demanded dignity in every negotiation. This wave has a name. It is called the Traore effect. He has awakened something deep in us, a sleeping pride that was never dead, only silent. He has reminded us that Africa is not poor. Africa is rich in every sense, rich in land, rich in people, rich in culture, and rich in spirit. What we have lacked was not wealth, but ownership, not resources, but unity. Today, that is changing. Today, Africa is learning to speak one language again, the language of ownership, of integrity, and of courage. When Traore says, our minerals are for our people, he's not speaking just for Burkina Faso. He's speaking for all of us. This is the dawn of a new Africa, an Africa that will trade with the world on equal terms, not as beggars, but as partners. To our friends in the West, I say this: Africa is not your enemy. We are not closing our doors to the world, but we will no longer open them to exploitation. We are ready to cooperate, but not to be controlled. We are open to partnership, but not to plunder. We have heard the same promises for decades, promises of progress, of democracy, of aid. But behind those promises have often come chains. Traore has shown us that it is time to break those chains, not through hate, but through honesty. When he said, we do not reject cooperation, we reject deception, he spoke for the entire continent. This is not rebellion. This is restoration. Africa is not turning against the world. Africa is returning to itself. The mirror that Traore holds up to the West may be uncomfortable, but it reflects the truth. Centuries of exploitation, broken promises, and manipulated alliances. He shows that mirror not to shame, but to invite a new relationship built on honesty, equality, and respect. Let me say this clearly. Africa is not poor. It has been made poor. The poverty we see is not our destiny. It is the result of systems designed to keep us dependent. The world calls us developing nations, but we have been developing the world for centuries. Our gold has built their banks. Our diamonds have decorated their crowns. Our uranium has powered their cities. Yet our people still struggle for clean water and education. That is not fate. That is theft. Traore's message is a reminder that progress must begin from within. We cannot build our future with borrowed tools. We must use our own hands, our own minds, our own courage. Africa must stop waiting for permission to rise. This generation must end the begging bowl mentality. We must stop asking for aid when our soil can feed us. We must stop asking for help when our land can heal us. The day Africa realizes its true power is the day the world will never again call us poor. To my fellow leaders across Africa, I say this with love and with honesty. Do not fear Traore's courage. Learn from it. Do not dismiss his fire because it reminds you of your compromises. Let us rise with him, for our people are watching. They are tired of words. They want action. Power means nothing if it does not uplift the powerless. Leadership means nothing if it does not serve the people. We must stop signing contracts that feed others while starving our own. We must stop trading our independence for handshakes and photos. Let us trade with each other. Let us trust each other. Let us defend each other. When one of us stands, the others must not watch. We must stand together, because together we are unbreakable. To the youth of Africa, the heartbeat of our future, hear me. The world will tell you that you are too young experienced, too powerless. But they said the same to every leader who ever changed history. You are the generation of transformation. You are the generation that will finish the revolution our ancestors began. You must fight, not with guns, but with education, not with violence, but with innovation. Your weapons must be knowledge, creativity, and unity. You must be the generation that builds factories, creates technology, and writes Africa's next chapter. You must believe that greatness does not come from approval abroad, but from belief within. Do not wait for others to define you. Define yourselves. Every young African who chooses courage over comfort becomes another Ibrahm Traore in spirit. My brothers and sisters, something powerful is happening in Africa. It cannot be stopped. It cannot be silenced. It is the wind of truth, of courage, of awakening. For generations, Africa has been told to bow, to wait, to obey, to ask for permission. But that era is over. The time for silence has passed. The time for awakening has come. Africa will still trade with the world, but with fairness. We will still cooperate, but with dignity. We will still engage, but as equals. When Traore speaks, he reminds us that dignity is not negotiable. Freedom is not granted. It is claimed. And leadership is not given. It is earned through sacrifice. Africa will rise, not because the world allows it, but because we have decided to rise. I have seen how the world tries to silence Ibrahm Traore. They twist his image. They call him names. They isolate him. But what they do not understand is this. Africa is awake now. You cannot silence a continent that has rediscovered its voice. True independence means controlling our own resources, our education, our defense, and our destiny. And that is exactly what this new Africa will do. So from this land of brave hearts, from Namibia, I say to you, President Ibrahm Traore, your courage is our courage, your vision is our vision, and your strength has reminded us of who we truly are. Together, we will build an Africa that honors its ancestors and inspires its children. May God bless Burkina Faso. May God bless Namibia. Finally see Africa, not as a place to pity, but as a continent to respect, strong, proud, and awake. Because the era of silence is over. The era of African awakening has begun.
Round one. A quick fix drops